We all live on planet Earth, so why are we letting large industries ravage it? There is no planet B. So, climate change is a uniquely human issue. It's something that we created, and even though it's a complex issue, it's something we need to understand so that we can stop it. And recognizing what we're currently doing to support the continuation of climate change, we'll be able to change how we go about and hopefully change the path that we're currently on. By recognizing things such as the damage of the fast fashion industry, we can put a stop to this damage. So, climate change is an issue that does not discriminate. Every single living being is being affected by climate change currently and will continue to be throughout the future. As well as every living being, our infrastructure and non-living things will also be heavily affected due to climate change if we do not put a stop to what is currently happening. So, in my freshman year of college, I took this really interesting course on sustainability, and I was able to find out more about sustainability, and that was great to learn. But what I really learned was the importance of learning those things. I came from the South, and I had never taken any classes in sustainability, not really things you talk about in the South. And in opening my eyes to these new things, I realized what I was doing wrong and how I could change. So, climate change is an issue of life or death. And today I want to cover why we're seeing such negative issues in our climate, negative changes in our climate, and one of the major factors behind this, the fast fashion industry, and how we can stop this. So, climate change is something you need to be aware of, and I don't mean to say this to scare, but because it's killing our planet. In a NASA published article called The Effects of Climate Change, NASA looked at the work of about 1,300 scientists who came together and saw that we're seeing the Arctic melt currently, so that's rising our sea levels, and we're seeing rises in our temperature, and within the next century we're most likely going to see an increase in temperature of 2 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that just sounds like it's going to be hot, but what that really means is that our infrastructure is not going to be able to support human life, and our growing patterns in the seasons are going to be completely changed, and so it will be really difficult to support life on Earth. So, heavy, but let's get into why this is happening. So there's a lot of factors that go into climate change, and to tackle them, you can't just tackle all of them at once. You kind of have to go into it. So today I'd like to talk about fast fashion industry and what that's currently doing to harm our environment. So, what is fast fashion? According to an article called What is Fast Fashion Anyway? Fast fashion is a term used to describe major corporations that produce textiles such as clothing or shoes really quickly, cheaply made items that rotate through stores really, really quickly. So this is like 1 week they go in, and then the next week everything is trashed. It's not recycled because it's not recyclable items, and this causes a lot of pollution. According to an article called The Environmental Impacts of the Fashion Industry, fast fashion industries and fashion industries in general are currently the second largest polluter, right behind oil, which is really shocking to think about, because when you buy a piece of clothing from Forever 21, you're not considering the pollution that's a part of that. So what about fast fashion and climate change? Currently, fast fashion is approximately held accountable for about 10% of global carbon emissions and 20% of water pollution, as well as using 1.5 trillion liters of water annually, which are just really scary numbers. Those come from a really great article called Fast Fashion Speeding Towards Environmental Disaster, Report Warns, which was just kind of going over this really interesting report on climate change. But those are all really negative things, and they are impacting how we're seeing our world die. So how can we stop that? My solution to this issue, I believe that we should implement a policy in which public school children, elementary to middle school, have to learn curriculum regarding the impacts of the fashion industry, as well as general environmental classes, in order to have more awareness. As I mentioned earlier, I did not have that awareness growing up. And when I went to college, I was shocked to find this whole new world of information. and see everything that I'd been supporting that I did not agree with. So in order to change this, I think a lot of people would feel similar to me, that they don't want to continue this bad cycle. So education is our way. In the United Kingdom, this is currently already being done. It's getting implemented right about now. As of 2019, it was being drafted. But the United Kingdom is working to implement classes on the impact of fast fashion industry among younger students. And that's already seeing some great results. That comes from an article called Fast Fashion Pacts, New Laws and Pacts to Change the Future of Fashion. I have a speech impediment, a lot of F's, sorry. As well as just general awareness, educating students on environmental issues is seen to have some great benefits for students, such as inspiring students to be more engaged in class and to have a better drive to understand all sides of an issue. And currently Americans are really misinformed about environmental issues and climate issues specifically. And so by putting in an education system in which we are taught that from day one, we'll have a lot greater understanding of those issues. Some of that comes from the Environmental Literacy in America book, which is a great read and I highly recommend. Well, kind of a heavy topic, but let's just go over it. So we're seeing dramatic harm from climate change right now, and fast fashion is a large factor in this, but if we better educate students, we can have a brighter future. Climate change, as I said, is a uniquely human issue. It's really complex, but it needs to be understood. So, in recognizing the harm that we're doing to our planet through things such as the fast fashion industry, by teaching those things at a younger age, we'll be able to put a stop to some of the harm that we're currently seeing and hopefully give ourselves longer lifespans and give our people of the next century a better chance. So we've done enough harm, but climate change does not have to be the end. In educating our new generation, we hope to see a great change and we can have a better future.